guys, so sorry this is late. This is for week 2 CC. First we started with timeline and we did battleship again, so we just sang through and then someone got to pull off a card and it has a little bomb on it if they had a hit, and we just keep singing through, and then I always like to challenge them to see if we can say it backwards at the very end, just one time. For math, we did mathersize again, and then we did each one chanting it. I'll say the equation, they'll say the answer, and then they'll say the equation, I say the answer. I think we divided up boys and girls. Girls say the equation, boys say the answer, so that not everybody's saying everything the entire time, because it's a lot to say. And then we also worked on the math wheel after geography. And then for Latin, we had conjugation and adverbs. Et means and, ut means that, non means not. And we had, each kid had a chance to go up to the front of the room and kind of teach it and lead it. So they would say it and we would repeat them. For English this week, it was a kind of a fun one. I brought a box with some suckers, but each sucker had a word attached to it, which is a verb. And so we all sang, someone got to hold the box, and we sang present participle, which is to the tune of happy birthday, so I'll sing that real quick. Present participle is a verb plus ing used as an adjective or a verb. And then after we sang to them, they got to open the box and pull out a sucker, which attached to the sucker was a index card with a verb on it. And it's funny verbs. I found verbs like clapperclaw and wambled and ballyrag, and so they had to change their verbs to a present participle just by adding ing. And on the back it had an example. They didn't read it in class, but they could read it. Actually, I did give them a chance to read it in class during art, I think, because we had extra time. So they had funny sentences and the definition of that verb. So that was fun. Then in the middle of my board, I added another verse this week to kind of go along with our history. It was Romans 13:1, talking about governing authorities and God being over all those governing authorities. For science, which bones make up the axial skeleton? And we just chanted this as we did our picture matchup. The bones that make up the axial skeleton are skull, ribs, vertebrae, sternum. And so we went over that in class, just said that again, and then so we would say it again, and as we said it again, the ones who had the picture, they would hang it up as we said it. So which bones make up the axial skeleton? The bones that make up the axial skeleton are skull, ribs, vertebrae, sternum. For history, can you see that? Let me back it up. For history, we had Tell Me About the Pilgrims, and I had just fill in the blank. So we would listen to it a couple times in the song. I would erase some words, and as we sing it on our own, when we erase those words, I don't say it, so I have to hear them say it. So they're having to memorize these words that I have erased. And it goes like this. In 1620, the Pilgrims sailed from Plymouth, England, and signed the Mayflower Compact, before founding Plymouth Colony in North America. And for geography, states and capitals, we just outlined each state on the map, put a dot where the capital would be, and we did show me, tell me. Which state is, I would say, which state is this, and point to my map, and they would tell me, or I'd say, find New York, and they would point to New York. What is the capital of New York? And they would tell me the capital of New York, and then we sang our song through, from the beginning all the way through, and then we sang it from Montpelier, Vermont, through a few times. Each time we added the state, we would sing it through. And the song, starting with Montpelier, Vermont, goes like this. Montpelier, Vermont, Albany, New York, Trenton, New Jersey, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Dover, Delaware. And if you don't have that song, just let me know and I will post it to the end. Yeah, and then we had science, or fine arts. I think we had science first. We had science, and I printed out some really teeny tiny and like 4-point font jokes about the eye. So like, what do you call a deer with no eye? No eye deer. But it was really, really small. It's hard to read without a magnifying glass, and so as they made their magnifying glasses, they could read their jokes, and we talked about parts of the eye. For art, we did mirror images, and we actually did a mirror image of the name, and I'll post that video because everybody really enjoyed it, and they wanted to go home and do it with their siblings. So I will post the video that I watched so that if they couldn't remember how it was done and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, they got to make monsters out of their mirrored name. And it was a hit. Everybody loved it. They wanted to do it again and see what other names could create what other kind of monsters. But I did keep that so it is safe and you will have it at the end of the year. And then we also did the feather, which they also enjoyed, but the name monster was a hit. All right. I think that is it for week 2. I hope you all have a great week. I'm sorry that this is out late. I will promise to get them out earlier from now on. But, all right. Bye for now.